Well, of course, we know the numbers that were put out in the earnings letter previous. This is about the earnings call, where Elon and some other executives got together and answered some questions, had some forward-looking statements. They basically started with the delivery of 95,000 vehicles, which, of course, is a record for Tesla, an all-time record. And to put that in perspective, that's about an 80% increase in deliveries compared to the second quarter of last year. Because, of course, at that point, the Model 3 was starting to ramp up. And now we are moving at a good clip. So that certainly is a healthy increase. He indicates...
How many cars per day does that work out to?
Well, that is sitting somewhere between 6,000 and 7,000 a week. So we're looking at about 1,000 a day.
It's a pretty good production rate.
Yep. Again, a future-looking statement. Since this 80% increase, Elon indicates that he sees for several years to come a 50 to 100% increase level. Believes that the Model 3, once again, the best-selling premium vehicle in the U.S., even against all of its gas-powered equivalents that are in the same class. Model 3 in Europe is approaching sales levels that it established. Premium competitors are certainly, it's equaling those premium competitors as well. And of course, they were happy to see that I guess it's the rating of the crash tests in Europe were certainly on par with what was happening in the U.S. And as a side note, Australia recently released those 5-star type ratings as well on the car. They talked a little bit about the advertising, the Motor Trend vehicle of I guess more than decades, 70 years since Motor Trend started to evaluate vehicles. They awarded the Model S as their top car amongst the 70 years of evaluations that they've put out there. So that was a big honor for Tesla, even though Tesla does not advertise directly in Motor Trend at all. Although, of course, no, not allegedly. There was no advertising done in Motor Trend at all by Tesla. Tesla does not advertise in any magazines, actually. But certainly some access to Motor Trend reporters were given the car when the Model 3 first came out. They were the first group to get their hands on the Model 3. So obviously there is some piece of advertising in that. Tesla is continuing to expand at an exponential rate. He talked a little bit about how that they've opened 25 new service locations and are adding 100 mobile vehicles to their fleet, and trying to keep on top of service, which is a key component of the Tesla structure. He went on to talk about the deliveries, again, in terms of volume. For the end of 2019, they're still on track to reach 360,000 to 400,000 Model 3s, which is what has been quoted all the way along. They feel they're on track to continue to meet that goal at the end of 2019, and that they feel that the demand has leveled out. It's sustainable for the amount that they're producing, and they feel that the car will continue to generate sales at a predictable rate. Some of the, I guess, another piece of the financial puzzle is that Tesla now has about $5 billion in cash on hand or equivalent. That is the largest amount of money they've had in the bank since they started operations. That was partially raised through a $2.4 billion proceeds that came through May for working capital benefits. And they feel that this backstop of money will allow them to continue operations for certainly the foreseeable future. Elon, again, a forward-thinking statement, looking statement, is that they believe that Q3 and Q4 will be profitable based on their models of sales, and they continue to be able to cut down costs based on production, and are hopeful that the percentage that they're getting, the profit percentage, will continue to increase. I believe they're quoted at about 19% profit on vehicles based on Q2 numbers. A surprise or somewhat surprising revelation was that JB Strobel is no longer going to be the CTO of the company. He's stepping down into an advisory role within the company. And yes, air quotes on
advisory.
Advisory. He indicated in his own words that he was not leaving the company, that he would be there for the transition. A Drew Baglino will be taking over his position. And Drew has been working for JB for some time. And obviously, they're big shoes to fill. But Drew's confident that with his training from JB, and of course JB being around in the future, they'll be able to transition successfully. Also, Elon indicated that the new Tesla Gigafactory in China is on schedule. Production is on schedule. Construction, of course, obviously would have to be on schedule for that to be the same as well. So they are moving forward with Shanghai. They also mentioned about Gigafactory 4 in Europe. They indicated that a site will be selected and named before the end of 2019. So that European new Gigafactory will be named, and we will know the country that it will reside in. And the early money is on Germany somewhere, but we will see. Go ahead.
No, I don't know where that money's coming from, but okay. Yeah, it's going to happen. I mean, they don't have CapEx in their budget right now to maintain the programs that they have, to maintain the machinery.
Well, no one said it was going to be built before the end of the year. All they're saying is they're going to name where it's going.
Right. Which, right. Okay.
So it could be that they're just going to say, hey, it's going to be here, or it could be like the one in China where here's where it's going and we get all this money, just outside investment.
China was able to be invested almost internally within the company or country through Chinese banks exclusively.
Right.
So I don't know if Europe would follow that same type of model, but it certainly made sense that China could do something like that.
Well, now the downside to that, though, is we found out as well through filings that Tesla's paying $320 million annually to the Chinese for that factory.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, you got to pay the piper in some way. The loan is not free. That's
right,
for sure.
right. The Chinese aren't doing it for free. I totally get that. I'm not saying they should, or they are. I'm just like, we found out what the price of that was.
Yeah.
And when you start dividing that number into X number of cars,
I mean, that's almost $1 million a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot of batteries.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but it's also one of the largest markets, so hopefully it pays off.
That's almost how much I earn.
Why are you here, Tony?
Just because he loves it. Yeah.
Speaking of batteries, there was discussion about a rapid increase in battery capacity that Tesla was basically going to be shipping off to Tesla Energy. Elon talked about a rapid increase in production of battery. He also alluded to the battery day that Tesla said was going to happen in late summer, and said that is probably, we're looking at somewhere between September and October for a date for Battery Day to talk about this rapid increase in production and what they're planning on doing with basically a huge 35 times the amount of batteries they're currently producing, what they're going to be doing with those batteries and how they're going to get it to that type of production point. So we will see. We will see.
So can I speculate on that thing?
Absolutely.
We've mentioned before, and it's been mentioned in several articles in the past, whether or not, and you got to hear me out on this, whether or not Tesla is a car manufacturer or a battery manufacturer using cars to sell their batteries. We've mentioned their battery chemistry, their battery manufacturing capabilities, their battery packs, their battery walls, their, everything. So are they a battery company?
Yeah, I think
And they're both. I mean, they're a good car company and a battery company.
This
It's
is
like
the first.
they're a razor company. They're not a shaver company.
It's a floor wax and a dessert topping.
That's right.
Wow.
For you old people out there.
Got a show title right there.
Elon also got into the discussion through a question about Model S and X demand. He admitted that there could be some cannibalization going on between the Model 3 and the prospective Model Y, and how they're eating possibly into the sales of the S and the X. Another thing that Elon came out with in this subject was about the him making a statement that Model S and X are not going to be refreshed in any great way. Little changes are going to be made to the vehicles as they see fit, as they come online, and they will be introduced in the public in the ways that they have always been. They're not waiting for a big refresh to happen. This, of course, is Elon telling the public, don't wait to buy the S or the X. You can buy them now. There's not going to be a big refresh 2 weeks after you buy them. So he's trying to get that across. And in the earnings call, he mentioned about that those details as well.
About the cannibalization, and I remember we talked about this when the Model 3 was released, cannibalizing the S especially. It reminds me of the Apple strategy. When they released the iPad, people said, well, that's going to cannibalize your laptop. And they were like, okay, Tim Cook said, okay, so we sell 3 iPads and we lose 1 laptop. Okay, where's the problem? It's not about one product over another. It all goes into the same bucket.
Another item that came up in a question was about the multiple price changes that happened at Tesla. And Elon addressed that, basically indicating that first of all, it was to do with some of the federal credit that is now running out, and it has been running out in stages over the past year. They're adjusting prices on the lower price car or the mid price car to adjust for those, in this case, over $1,800 that disappeared off the federal credit. And most likely there will be another, based on what he's saying here, there may be another adjustment in another 2 months when the rest of the federal credit completely disappears. But he was indicating that they are trying to keep production levels at a certain level, and that is a big dance with the price of the vehicle, the state of the economy, the what credits are available or not available in different areas, and they're always trying to balance, trying to come up with a stable production rate that they're not producing too many, they're not producing too few, they're selling everything that they can. So that was his explanation as to the price changes that have happened quite, a lot over the past 6 months is what they've been trying to get to. And of course, there's a ton more of information, but we could spend an entire show on it, which we're not going to do here tonight. But those are some of the highlighted features of the earnings call for Q2.
Awesome.